Hello and welcome to the Dead Air Dudes. I'm Izzy.
Rocka, and this is post Oscar night.
Post.
As we proceed to tell you how much of a sham this piece of garbage self-patting award show spectacle is. Unfortunately, undeserving people won. Unfortunately, they went chalk on a lot of things, and a lot of people who deserve to win weren't even actually nominated. But for all the people who still fall in line with convention and status quo, let's begin with the post-mortem.
Yeah, first of all, if you guys listened to our last episode, we got a couple things wrong. Actually, a lot wrong, but we did say one thing that was probably going to happen, and it did. Oppenheimer had a big night. I think they won 5 awards, right?
Maybe 6.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 out of the 13 or something, but they essentially won a bevy of the big ones. Not all of them, but
yeah, not a clean sweep, but they won enough to dominate.
Best director, best picture, best leading actor, best cinematography, right?
I mean, if you really want, yeah, best actor, Cillian Murphy. Best picture, Christopher Nolan. Best director, Christopher Nolan. So that's 3. Best supporting actor, so it's 4. Robert Downey Jr. Best original score, that's 5. And I think there is one more. Yes, best cinematography, that's 6.
Yeah.
No, best film editing, 7.
So 7, I think 7 of 13, I think. So yeah. So hey, I mean, rock on, right?
Hey, I mean, we're not here to hate, but we are here to hate.
Now, I got to interject one thing. I mean, which we're also gonna give a quick also review of Poor Things as well. After we lambaste the Academy Awards, is it me or more than other years? It seems that, as we mentioned in our American fiction review or deep dive, whatever you want to call it, that life is imitating art more and more, and it seems that the Oscars were even more of a sham than they've been.
I believe that is accurate. I mean, I don't know why, or I don't know how you can attribute it. I don't know what's.
First of
there's
all,
actually a couple of factors. A, there's a bevy of piece of shit movies.
Yes.
And B, the gap between quality movies and garbage movies in the middle of the road is so wide, life imitating art with economics, that invariably the top high percentage, cream of the crop, are going to win it all. Because in relative to their colleagues, there's no contest.
I mean, and it's almost like, oh, someone says, "Oh, this is a great movie." Oh, yes, it was so great. Bravo! And the amount of, I mean, I don't want to be crass, but the amount of pats on the back that they gave themselves. Which, look, I know it's a, it's always been
it's
that
a
way.
Private club.
Okay, but dude, it's like, bro. I mean,
look, I don't want to get political, but there's no way around it. This might be a stretch for some people who maybe is not into this kind of science. The Nobel Prize is the same thing.
Okay.
There's a million cases that can be made with so many people from less notable countries or backgrounds that have superior research and achievements, and they're not given. If you look at the Nobel Prize winners for the whole history, it's some ridiculous number, like 95% are like from these European countries. You cannot tell me that is the only hub of scientific achievement.
Yeah.
And then if you go deeper dive, some of those people who have won are part of a old boys club.
No, know that.
So how is Hollywood any different? Now, they've expanded a few things. You want to go? Okay, let's. You want to go? Let's go by category, and then we can take it from there.
Sure, let's go. All right.
All right. So best actor first.
Okay, best actor. Best actor. Obviously, it was. I'm gonna quickly read the nominees, and then we just get into it. Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo, Rustin, Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction, and the eventual winner, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. Okay, we went with we wanted Giamatti to win, and we thought that Giamatti would probably. Well, that's who we were rooting for, but then we also said that
Joaquin Phoenix had a phenomenal role and performance. It's not nominated. I would never even say it's a great, good movie, but his performance, right? Best actor. It's like saying who won the batting title, who MVP, and what is the best, who won the World Series. They're three different topics, but you went chalk, they went chalk, and they took Cillian Murphy. Now, I can't disparage his performance. It was great. He lost weight. He looked like the guy. He had all his mannerisms down. But can you say it was an overachieving role? You know what I mean? Is it a super spectacular role? Not to mention, if you want to play politics, you're giving the damn movie 7, 8 nominations and you win 7 of them out of 8 or something like that. The Holdovers was never going to win anything, but his performance to me was superior. Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix's performance is superior. I can go down the line, so I'm not robbing one and giving to another. I'm just saying, it's a bit of a shame.
The choice for Cillian Murphy isn't as egregious as we would think, so I mean, I'm okay with it. Best Actress. Lady Gladstone, Killer of the Flower Moon, and the Benny Naiad, Carey Mulligan, Maestro, Sandra Hüller, Anatomy of a Fall, and the eventual winner, Emma Stone, for Poor Things. Now, as we're going to get into Poor Things in a little bit, yes, she was stupendous. She was very, very good in the movie.
Okay, so you see the criteria?
Yes.
The criteria that I had set forth. The movie is not Best Picture. There are some that may even throw up watching this movie.
Yes.
But her performance, standalone, there's like no argument.
Yeah, and I hate to say this. I mean, because you're like, oh wow. I mean, it's almost a little too much, but her performance was somewhat fearless in this film.
I mean, it left. She broke all boundaries.
Yeah, she did not care. And I mean in the best way possible. And yeah, it was a tour de force, so I have no arguments again about it.
All right, why don't we jump into something that both you and I had some really huge bone of contention with. Best animated feature. I'll let you do the first salvo.
We'll get into Best Supporting Actress with Divine, Joy Randolph, which we said if she was going to win, and she did win. Congratulations. She was awesome in that. And
I got no issue with that. That's fine.
Yes. Best Supporting Actor, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, I think this is one of those. He was nominated a couple times already, right? So I think it's one of those sum of all parts kind of, here you go. Again, not to say it was bad. He was good in the role, but Gosling was great.
I mean, Gosling's role
and Ruffalo was more in Poor Things. So I mean,
yeah, but his role was more important. But you see what I saw after you watched Poor Things. You see what I'm saying? Is that he's a supporting character, but he is not as consequential.
No.
Through most of the movie, he does play a pivotal role. And his role he plays exceedingly well.
See, but it's more of a fact that Mark Ruffalo doesn't play that role, so therefore he played that role, and he was great at that role. and that's why they gave it to him as opposed to it being a role of a lifetime. Understand?
And I guess it's a fine line because you're supporting, you're not the main.
Yeah, but I think it's more the fact of him being the actor who he said himself. He thought he was going to be terrible, behind the scenes, he thought he was going to be terrible at the role, and that he did a terrible job. And he thought that he was going to be replaced by his good friend Oscar Isaac. To the point when they were shooting a movie next door, Willem Dafoe found out his good friends Oscar Isaac, invited him to set, and they tricked Ruffalo into telling him that he got fired, and Oscar Isaac actually took over the role because he's like, at 55 years old, I can't play this role. And
You gotta love it.
fact that he said, you know what, I'm gonna go over the top, and it was probably, and I think, well, I'm not gonna quote it, but that it was one of the most fun he's had on set. So, yeah, best director: Justin Trier, Martin Scorsese, Yorgos Lanthimos, Jonathan Glazer, and the winner Christopher Nolan. Now, look, Nolan was great in Oppenheimer, but I I think I might have given it to Yagros, man. Yorgos, I'm sorry, Yorgos.
Exactly, because you see such a challenging role here.
It's so over the top. It is so many things going on, and that and the vision, to put that book, and supposedly the book is even more out there. Like there's a lot more stuff that were left out, that was left out.
Yeah, I mean, real quick snippet. The he actually visited the writer,
Yes. Yeah.
and he went to Scotland, and with his blessings was able to change a couple things because typically most of the stuff happens in Scotland, and a lot of the characters and things he tweaked it. Some he beefed up, and some things he actually dumbed down because it would have been, I'm paraphrasing, a little too controversial.
Yeah.
If you can imagine that.
Now, back to, as Rocka mentioned, the animated. Look, all right.
Do you believe it to be the most egregious?
Look,
Say it, spit it out, man.
I think so. Now, look, for the record, Elemental, Robot Dreams, Nimona, the eventual winner, The Boy and the Heron, and of course, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, as a comic book fan, as you can see,
No.
Spider-Man was, I was on record that it should have been nominated for Best Picture, let alone Best Animated Feature. It was that good. Okay, it's arguably the best Spider-Man film of all time, live action or animated, and arguably the best superhero movie of all time. Now, when will the Academy start respecting the superhero genre and making it, like they don't respect horror either. They don't respect romantic comedies. They just
They don't
want,
respect sci-fi because your same argument, I put Godzilla -1 in the batch for Best Picture.
heck. And when they won,
Yes. Here, they won. It's like they threw him a bone, like you said before. Best visual effects.
yes, best visual effects, and they were so damn excited because they thought they weren't going to win that it was like they threw them a bone. They could have been nominated, or probably should have been nominated for best international feature. Now,
Absolutely.
I mean, but
Numbers don't lie.
they
From
do
a
I
$15
hear.
million budget movie to worldwide acclaim and box office draw.
But let's kick the ballistics like I used to say back in the day. Okay, old folks, and this is, I'm not being ageist here, but the old stuffy people at the Academy are not going to sit and watch Godzilla.
And they're not going to sit and watch
I would,
Spider-Man.
I would say that, of course, now I watch Spider-Man, and I would say that freaking the majority couldn't stomach poor things, but because someone said, "Oh, it's so freaking great," let's put it out there.
And again, what did I tell you the
And
last
of
episode?
course, they will like American Fiction because
Yes,
American Fiction proves the whole point of what is going on.
Because it's trending.
Exactly.
Which again, like you said, the last episode, they threw American Fiction, and we predicted it, a bone by giving them the best adapted screenplay, and that's it.
Yeah, and even Cord Jefferson, which kudos to him when he went up and he was like, "Look," he actually, I don't know if you heard the speech. He goes that instead of making a $200 million movie, you can make 10 movies at 20 million. You can make 50 movies at whatever, and
Quality movies.
And it's not about the spectacle about you have to give new people a chance. He was his first time directing, 40-year-old first time director.
And it's more than a quality movie. It was a very good movie.
Very good movie.
It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't best picture, but I would put it in the top 5% of movies made today.
Yeah. Mind you, we did hit on that one. We were right on that one. We both said Cord Jefferson would win. And best original screenplay, which I think we picked Past Lives, right? Anatomy
Well, we did, but also I think you and I interjected that. How about Dream Scenario?
Yeah, well, I mean,
take the execution, and anyone who is a anti Nicolas Cage fan, it was social. It was a very out there original idea. You're not making Fast and Furious 11, Saw 12, um, remakes and rehashback of movies. Dune is a remake, and everything else is a remake these days, or it's a sequel. This was
a reimagining. So
reimagining, but it was a refreshing look at this concept, Dream Scenario, and its application to today's contemporary social media issues. I thought it was a fantastic film for that reason, that it goes beyond the safety zone and it engages you. It makes you think and entertains. Again, not crowning it to be the best movie ever, but it's far better than sitting through 90% of the rehash shit out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, and of course, we saw Nicolas Cage at the Oscars when he was, actually it was funny when the part he goes, because he introduces, I think Giamatti, right? Because they had every like past winner introduce one of the nominees, and they would talk to them, and then that's how they were. So Nicolas Cage was saying Giamatti how I think there was a part that because he needed to have something in his eye or something, so basically he wore a contact that kind of made him kind of blind in one eye. And he said, I don't know how many actors would go through that for the role. Of course, I would, and then chuckle. But I'm not sure how many would also, just in classic Nicolas Cage fashion. Now, did we?
I think we covered most of the bases.
All in all, the show was decent. Kimmel did an okay job. Probably the highlight for me was obviously, the Ken number with and I mean I get that they lost, but the Billie Eilish song is good, even though I've heard it 80,000 times. It is pretty good. So
yeah, I got no issue with that. And also, like we have mentioned in the past, I did see the original Barbie movie, and I understood what it was for what it is, right? Not making the most out of it, but again, numbers can't lie, popularity can't lie, and you cannot find me too many people out there would say that movie did not exceed by far your expectations.
Well, of course, but then again, people were, but also it's also kind of it was a it was a good movie. It wasn't. It was an enjoyable film, but how how much of a or how good you thought you were expecting it to be? Not very good. Nobody was.
No, nobody was, which
In
is
fact,
why it's a pleasant surprise.
it
Oh,
overexceeded all expectations.
I mean, also, man, that should have been really a tighter race for set design. I thought it was phenomenal set design, but
Yeah,
whatever.
but I mean, like I was telling myself, look, if Poor Things won for one of the categories, in theory they should win for all of those categories because I mean
I
they're
know one hands in hand with the other.
exactly. If they won for costume and they won for makeup, I mean they really should win for set design. I mean it's like but
Well, all right, guys, to wrap it up, please check out Izzy and Rocka's Dead or Dudes End of the Year Awards, where the real awards are handed out. It's in a few episodes back, and give us your feedback and what you think.
you guys, if
And
you guys have are opinionated, woo, you really like that or not.
well, if you want to check out the right stuff, go to our episode.
Now let's get into really quickly Poor Things. Okay, directed by we mentioned his name already, but let me get his name again
Yarborough Lovinston,
because he deserves to be
aka Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein.
Yorgos
Now,
Lanthimos. Okay,
yeah,
obviously stars Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, Rami Youssef, I think, and yeah, aforementioned Willem Dafoe. Okay,
if you're in agreement with me, Izzy, I think we can lay out some spoilers because this is one of those exceptions where the movie is more execution than it is what actually happens.
okay. Real quick, a woman commits suicide. Is found by essentially Dr. Frankenstein, and she's pregnant. So the crazy idea, because she had some spark of electricity and she was not fully dead, or she was dead but she still it was the body wasn't
She was dead.
yeah, well, so then he has but the baby was alive, so he takes the brain of the baby, of the infant, and places it in the head of the mother, played by Emma Stone. So what we get from here on out is a surrealistic, over the top, wacky, funny, crazy story about self, awareness, the how she grows into the person she becomes, sexual awakening, and everything. Now, there's some very adult themed, there's some quirky things here and there that might leave you questioning certain things, but go with it. Go ahead, Rocco.
I think all in all, right? If you take the original author of the book, and this is based on a book,
Yes.
if you take his writings, if you take the director's point of view, if you read excerpts from Emma Stone and how she wanted to treat the character, this character in I would say what late 1800s, 1900s. Well,
I don't even know. I mean, I guess
I mean, if
something.
you go by set design alone, like the car looks like it was just invented. So
Yeah, but it's
let's
also
say,
there's a lot of like, steampunk stuff going on.
yeah. So let's say post-industrial age.
Yeah.
We won't even set a date. The whole point is she is now growing as an infant in an adult body, but mentored by a scientific mind. So her entire journey through life, which mirrors all of us, because it's all satire, is a journey re-examining current practices, social graces, laws, customs, whatever, through a scientific, young, innocent eye. And as she gets older and learns the world, that gets tamed.
Yeah.
And that's why she has these, what we would consider outlandish reactions to self-discovery, to people being mistreated, to people, old man winking at her, to dancing, to tastes, to sexual awakening, to all this stuff, because she's seeing it through a lens totally different than all of us. And that's what we have to get from the film. It's not this straight up Frankenstein story. It's an actual satire with making social comments of the day and
Right.
applicable to our present day. So it's a lot there. And I don't think a lot of people have that mindset when they go into this movie, because they're not you and I, who we have some backdrop, we do some
No,
research.
yeah, they don't. They will just see, and there's been, and this is, slight spoilers. There's been some backlash originally from the film when people were saying that it's an actual, it's like sexually perverse, and that, oh, she's an infant, so, but she's a woman, but it's the mind of an infant, so she's actually younger than what she is, but she really isn't, because the body is the body of an adult. And a lot of it is geared towards her sexual awakening, at least in a lot of the picture, and people,
I
it's
think if you watch it outright,
you know,
right, but you don't pay attention to the exact thing you just said, if
yeah,
they miss the boat that it's an infant brain in a adult body. Let me see the way she walks. She says wee wee. She pees. She's uncoordinated. She's so innocent. As her brain matures, and it's an exponential level, right? I mean, she's learning how to write and read in like a week. What you see through her lens is how perverse we are
yeah,
with how we treat sexual activity, how we treat relationships, how we treat, tips, payment, people in the working class, abuse, labor abuse, war, pain, anger, people backstabbing. And then as you get later towards the ending, where her own backstory becomes a little more revealed, I think that's what the director really wanted, and along with the cast, is for it to sink in. And as you let it settle in, you reverse the lens. It's not her eye anymore. It's our eye looking at society and re-examining how everything looks, because we're only seeing it through our eyes.
right.
Now, again, like I said, in my quickie review, it's not for everybody.
No, it's not.
Because you cannot appreciate this movie and even get through it without an open mind.
No, exactly. And you have to actually, sit through it, and it almost settles in. Like at the beginning, you're like, what the fuck's going on? You're like, oh,
But it settles in because I think the director is brilliant.
no, yeah, no, it was excellent. The set design, and this is all the stuff that they won Oscars for. The direction, cinematography, the set design, all that was awesome, and it all worked. And as I mentioned before, the acting, especially by Emma Stone, was superb. Ruffalo did a pretty damn good job. Everybody did. Everybody did. It's a good film. It's a good
But
film.
like the theme that you said, which has become the theme of this whole Oscar week, of life imitating art and vice versa. They're winning all these superficial awards when the movie is anything but that.
Yeah,
It's like they've missed the boat.
funny, isn't it?
And I don't think they should have won Best Picture, but they're missing the boat. I wish there was another category of Best Deep Movie, Best Profound Thought. And then I think it would be up there.
I mean, I wish there was a way to find out that if they really saw this film and really appreciated it for what it is, which I don't think they did. I just think the pretentiousness of the few, kind of infected the many, and that's why it was actually nominated, not because, I mean, maybe I'm,
Wait. Stop right there. Can I ask you one question?
sure,
Let's say they tone down the scenes, the explicit scenes. think it's a better movie and got a little more play, a little more, let's say like you didn't have to go completely all out graphic. I believe it could have gone a little further in its reach.
Agreed. I think some of it is now, and the director said he didn't want to tone down the like the rawness of it, but I don't think we had to,
Exactly. It could have been accomplished.
I mean
The
it
same message could
it
have been
was
accomplished.
it was
Well, yeah, I mean, it
I
was.
mean it's like
It could have crossed over to
full
another
on
category.
everybody, full on, full frontal, for whatever. I mean, it's yeah. I mean,
It could have crossed over to another rating.
yes. Well, I mean, it's rated R, which I'm kind of, I mean,
It
yeah.
should be R plus.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know what constitutes an X, to be honest. I mean, because I mean,
Oh yeah, we saw the movie X, which
I guess. I mean, to be TMI, I guess it would be full penetration. That would probably constitute like actual. Would it probably constitute?
and I get it because you don't initially, as a creator, right? Both of us know this. You don't limit yourself because of where somebody else is going to typecast you. You have a vision, you go for your vision. It's just to me unfortunate that the vision and that really all the way vision acts as a detriment to the film's reception.
Yeah.
But
Well,
hey, if you guys are into it and you want to see this,
hey,
it
spring
is
on
it
Hulu
is
right
like
now.
a
So
very quintessential artsy movie.
yes, it is. It is. I mean, to the point where the beginning is black and white. Or the first like 30 minutes is black. It's like fully black and white,
I mean, the other thing is okay, so like
which is fine.
um,
But be forewarned.
but something like Bo is
Open
Beautiful,
mind
right?
and meal.
To me, this is the same misstep that Bo is Beautiful took, where he has a full nudity scene, a couple of them, and it's all wacky because I assume the director wants us to really get into his screwed up head and experience life through his eyes, which is so mentally unbalanced. I just don't think you have to go all the way sometimes to get that accomplished.
Yeah, no, I think sometimes less is more. I mean,
Less is actually more brilliant.
you know,
But
hey,
anyway,
and same thing, in a horror movie. I mean, does it have to be, you know, limbs being severed or whatever else,
no,
unless it has to be severed.
and you go all the way back to Psycho, one of the scariest movies ever made, one of the first pioneers of horror, and there's no scene of the knife getting into the victim.
Heck, Halloween, the original Halloween, I do believe it's not that graphic in comparison to regular slasher standards. You know what I mean? So
House of a Thousand Corpses.
moving on. That being said, check it out if you want something different, and which I do applaud Hollywood for actually making this film. Well, it wasn't Hollywood. I mean, it was an independent film, but the independent side of Hollywood got that done. And yeah, I mean, let's see. I mean, we both enjoyed it. Rocco more than I did, but it was worth the watch. All right. So let us know what you guys think as far as our happy recap or trashing. And what did you guys think of Poor Things?
Yes, and again, as a whole, please refer back to our 2 or 3 episodes ago. No, actually, end of the year for the real best pictures, best performances, and best awards than this crap.
Indeed. As usual, thanks, guys. I'm Izzy.
I'm Rocka. Remember, everybody, stay vigilant, watch movies, read comics, and to always, always save the whales.
Take care, everybody.